Hi guys, so I wish we were coming here on different circumstances because I was truly convinced that Selena would be brought home and that we would find her. I was completely convinced that she was out there, she was still alive, and that she would be brought home. So to my surprise, that did not happen, and I'm sorry for being so late in the game. The day I filmed and posted my first video on Selena, I got told that night that one of my best friends had passed, and I was just kind of in a fog. I didn't even realize it had been 2 weeks really. So I definitely wanted to come back and just give you guys the information that has come forward. This is just, it's just such a tragedy because I don't know. I guess I'm always like super hopeful, but I just don't believe what the autopsy says. I don't believe that this girl was 3/4 of a mile away from where everyone was searching for 20 days and no one found her. I cannot even fathom that. Like, how is that even possible? So you guys know Selena was 5'9", 130 pounds. She was a basketball player. So 3/4 of a mile is not that far. I'm hardly athletic, but even I can run a mile. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can run a mile. It takes you maybe anywhere from like 8 to 12 minutes to run a mile. So the fact that she was probably 10 minutes away from the rest stop is just mind-blowing. Let's get into some theories because obviously I was way off on the theories. I will take full responsibility for that. I was completely convinced that this girl was abducted because of just how beautiful she was, where she was at, just the entire circumstances. I just ran with, she got taken, she is literally being abducted, like she could be anywhere type of thing. So to my surprise, when she was found in that field, I was just really confused because on my first video, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that they were using drones and that they could see little field mice and bunny rabbits and all of these things in the field, but somehow miss an entire body 3/4 of a mile away from the rest stop. I don't, that in itself is fishy enough to me. Like, that does not make any sense. How can she show up if you guys were flying over with drones and doing all these things and you could see bunnies and you could see all these things? How was her body not found then? And the 20-day thing, 3/4 of a mile is not that big. I would think if someone went missing from a rest stop, I would do like a diameter of a mile radius first, and then a 2-mile radius, and a 3-mile radius, and then 4. You know, I won't just go bolting out 10 miles down the road. I would do a mile radius, 2 mile. So how did it take 20 days for this girl to be less than a mile away from where she disappeared from? How did it take 20 days for her to be found? Okay, so let's get into what the talk is on Facebook. I do have someone that is sending me all of these information. Thank you so much. I really just want to get both sides out because I know the autopsy report does say that she died of hypothermia. I just find that so hard to believe. Like, she went missing at 2 p.m. It's 2 p.m. right now. Let me show you outside Billings in 2 p.m. It's pretty sunny, right? The sun in Montana goes down around like 5 p.m. So she had about 3 hours to be found before the sun went down and then temperatures really started to drop, where we could get the hypothermia thing from. But this just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, there's just too many holes for me to just believe that. Okay, so I'm gonna read this quote right here. I don't know who it's from, it's just cut off, but it says, Selena was 16 years old when she was reported missing. There was no Amber Alert issued, though a missing and endangered persons alert went out the day she went missing. Due largely to the immense pressure from volunteer search parties and her own family who went out day after day looking for Selena, the FBI issued a be on the lookout for her more than a week after she went missing. A bolo alert. A year ago when Henry Scott disappeared, it took more than 2 weeks, 19 days for a missing persons report to be issued. Volunteers found her in a field near the home where there was a party. She was 14 years old. This is not death by exposure. This is not no foul play is suspected. Children do not just wander away and die. This is systematic neglect and stems from response patterns that prioritize children from wealthier white communities over the most vulnerable. So as I am aware, Selena was a native to Montana. So she's pretty well adjusted at 16 years old to the temperatures. And I mean, I've only been living here for a couple months, but even my regulation and the cold I can deal with. I moved here from Arizona, okay? So like when I first came here, I was like, holy crap, it's cold. But now like it's not that cold. I could see how Selena was wearing what she was wearing on that day, because during the day it's not really that cold. Pretty sure there was not snow on the 1st. I mean, I could see her just wearing a sweater and boots and jeans. But what I don't understand, and this is what is really strange, what I don't understand is how she was missing some of those items. And if she was an athlete and she was starting to get cold, I would think the only thing she would do would be to run, whether that's run back to the rest stop. You could find someone else there once, you know, time has passed. But we're talking about like a 3-hour window to when the sun goes down that she could have been found, and her friends could have went out and looking for her. Like she could have came back to the rest stop. There's just time missing there. That 3/4 of a mile. If you're dying of hypothermia, I would think you would want to keep moving, especially being a Montana native. She knew what time it got cold. She knew the weather. She's lived her whole life. She knows the surroundings. She knows what element she's in. She's a Native American, okay? And she lives in Montana. So this hypothermia thing just seems so random to me, because she went missing at 2 p.m. in the day. I could see if she went missing at 2 a.m. or, you know, 11. I could see her, you know, dying of hypothermia. It's freezing cold outside. But 2 p.m.? That's 3 hours. It takes, what, less than 10 minutes to run a mile? So we have 3 hours missing that she could have went back to the rest stop. She could have reunited with her friend. And her friend running with no shoes on and her legs all scratched up. I am fully convinced that something happened in that car. It did not break down. A fight might have broken out, because there is video. Basically, these are the people that are involved. Erlis hugs her husband, Johnny Jr. Harho, Arlana Pretty on top, Shayna Spotted Bear, Wade Old Crow. Wade Old Crow is starting a lot of problems. I have seen his name a lot of times because he is filmed in a video like yelling or getting in an altercation outside of the van. And this is what I think happened. I think an altercation broke out and these girls were just riding with these people. You know, maybe his ego got in the way and he was just like, you know what, get out of the car, I'll get you a different ride, I just can't deal with this. Or maybe they got in a real altercation and her friend, or not even her friend, I keep saying that, but I've come to realize that it's not her friend. And then Arlana Pretty on top. The girl that was running with, supposedly, allegedly, the girl that was running with Selena was Arlana Pretty on top. And it doesn't make sense why she had no shoes on, but her legs were all scraped up. That just seems so suspicious to me. I feel like an altercation broke out and the girls may have gotten kicked out of the van, or maybe he scared Arlana away and kind of left her there as a ploy, and they took Selena somewhere else. I just don't see her being in that field. It's just, I really truly feel like she got taken somewhere and placed, I hate to say that, but possibly placed back in the field to make it look like an accident. But in this video, this guy was clearly very, very upset. And we don't know what happened from the time that video was filmed to the time that they went running off into the field to the time that her his friend came to pick him up, and then there was only one girl. It just does not add up. And they all have conflicting stories. Arlana Pretty on Top deactivated her Facebook, and 2 of the other people are pretty much on the run. They moved to a different city and they are trying to stay super low-key. I just feel like if it was how they say it was, if it was just an accident and hypothermia, whatever, why run? Why delete your Facebook? Why act sketchy? Why have conflicting stories? It just does not make sense. I do not believe that this girl just wandered off less than a mile away from the rest stop and just laid down and passed. We don't know what could have happened. They could have held her for a couple days. That's why the time of death is so important, because I cannot wait for that to get released. It would just fill in so many blanks. I just can't see it. It just doesn't make sense. And the fact that Arlana Pretty on Top is not giving a lot of information, like what happened when you guys went running? Where did she go? How did you lose her that much? How do you lose someone that much? And it's still less than a mile away from the rest stop. How could you not see her? How could you not be calling for her? Like, where are all of these answers? I really wish if these people, if their hands were truly clean, that they would come forward, share their side of things, share their story, give this family closure, let them know what happened in the last moments of their daughter's life. Give them some type of anything. Even if a fight did break out between the friends, that's not enough to commit someone for murder. Even if you guys did have an altercation and you did have a verbal argument and you did kick her out of the car and you told her to wait for someone else, that's not enough to be guilty enough to be running and to be hiding and to not be coming forward with answers. I get it. It can be scary when everyone thinks that you did something that you probably might not have. But at the same time, this family needs answers. And this is so frustrating for me, and I didn't even know her. I feel so connected to this story, and I just cannot let it be a hypothermia or an accidental death or any of that, because it just doesn't make sense in my book. This girl was an athlete. She was tall. She had long legs. She was a basketball player, and you want me to believe that she was just 3/4 of a mile away from safety and couldn't make it? There had to be something else that was stopping her. There had to be someone else. I don't know, but, and let me just get to some of the family theories because I do have those as well. All right, so one of my subscribers, she said, so what I can find, 2 of the people that last saw her have fled from Montana. As I said, I'm pretty sure that's Wade Oldcrow and one of the other girls, her name is Sarah Starr, or yeah, I think it's Sarah Starr. So Wade and Sarah Starr have fled Montana. And she said that there hasn't really been an update other than police trying to get everyone to Cooper. I think they're holding out factual evidence and a means to use against them in interviews, since they only have one shot to prove it was these people that killed her. Many people think this was a setup and what happened to her was more than just a fight and she went missing. I have many theories as to what happened. I refuse to believe that Selena's body was there for the whole time, especially when they looked there several times. I believe that group of people hid her body and put it back there when they stopped looking in that area. So these are the theories that are swirling around, and I definitely kind of agree. And I wish the cops would like show us a grid of where they searched, what time they searched, what day they searched. Because if they did search this area, which I would assume they did because it was so close to the rest area, why didn't they see her body there before? And was it placed after the fact? And what is her time of death? And is it even on that day? Or is it a couple days later and they just felt the heat coming on them and then they, you know, left her in conditions that would result in a hypothermic death so it would look like an accident and then placed her back there? I don't know, but I do think it's fishy that the van quote unquote broke down at this rest area and then all of a sudden it gets magically fixed and then they just happen to leave 2 girls and then next thing you know it's just 1 girl and then her family was there the entire time and like searches were going on and drones were being flown. I just don't see how they missed this girl's body. It just doesn't add up. The only logical way that I could see it is if her body was placed there after the fact. But that would take a lot of balls. If it's under FBI investigation, the parents are right there and a group of people are bringing her back. It's just, If they did do something, I only think it's a matter of time before one of them flips and the pressure becomes too much. Committing a murder with 6 people is not the brightest thing to do, I would think. Too many people, too many witnesses, there's just too much. So to be able to place her body back there, I do think it would take a group, but I do have hope that this group is not going to stay quiet. I think one of them is going to flip, and then a thorough investigation will be done, and hopefully we will get justice for Selena, because I just cannot accept this outcome. I can't accept that she just died of hypothermia. It does not add up to me at all, and I really hope that there's more answers, because this just seems like a terrible ending to a story. I want justice for her. I want to know what happened in that van. I want to know what caused her to run away. I want to know what happened. Like, obviously something happened in that van. Whether we know that or not, something happened, and they're trying to cover it up. Whether it's a little tiny fight or whether it's murder, we don't know, but their actions are showing that it could be way worse, considering 2 of them have fled the scene and left the state of Montana, and the other one deactivated her Facebook and is going ghost, and they're all just being very sketchy. They're not, you know, sorry. They're not sending prayers to the family. They're not taking responsibility. It's just really frustrating to just go on with your life and just ghost it as if it didn't happen, when there's thousands of people that want answers for Selena and don't believe that she just wandered off and died of natural causes. There's just so many blanks left to this story, and it is so heartbreaking, because at the end of the day, she's gone. And a beautiful, young, aspiring woman, a Native American woman who was athletic and could have, you know, graduated high school, gone to college, had a family, is all stripped away. Not to mention, this family has already lost 3 of their other kids, so now their youngest daughter is also gone, and it's just another tragic death. Let me remind you that Selena's older brother was shot by Billings police. Her older sister was killed on a hit and run on the highway. Her twin sister killed herself in 6th grade at 11 years old, committed suicide. So obviously there's something going on. And then Selena just happens to wander off and die of natural causes of hypothermia. Like, how much more can this family take? They need answers, and I do not think that this is the answer. I think it looks really bad on police that they took so long to find her body. That looks really bad. 3/4 of a mile took you 20 days to find. Not to mention the fact that they said distinctly, I remember saying this in my video, if her body would have been in that field, they would have found her. Okay, that's what they said. If her body was in that field, that they would have found her just on the drones. But yet 20 days pass, and then all of a sudden she shows up. It's just a lot of missing pieces. I do not have all the answers for you guys. I am very sorry. These are just my theories. If you guys want to take the autopsy report of hypothermia, then go right ahead. I am just left wondering, how did it get to that? You know? 3/4 of a mile, that's, I feel like she could have been saved. Maybe if they didn't leave, maybe if they didn't fix the van and drive away, leaving one of the other girls, or maybe that other girl saw too much, or maybe something scared her and that's why she was running hysterically through the field and hiding in a ditch and had scrapes all over her legs and was barefoot. Maybe she was involved too. Maybe she was also a victim. Maybe she's scared for her life and that's why she's hiding. And the 2 people that have fled the scene, those were the people that got a safe ride back to wherever they were going once the van was fixed. But yet somehow Selena and this other girl who was running barefoot, hiding in a ditch with her legs all scraped up, and Selena's nowhere to be found. She didn't see her go anywhere. She didn't see where she went. So leave your guys' comments down below. Do you think that Selena just wandered off, died of hypothermia, and that was it, and her body just happened to go unnoticed for 20 days while the FBI was searching that area? Or do you think it's possible that maybe they took Selena? They did something with her. They got scared of the heat. They got scared of the, you know, moving past that field, they waited for them to search a certain area and then they placed her body there after the fact so it could be found. What do you guys think? I don't know, the hypothermia thing just really like bothers me. I wonder if hypothermia, if it's possible after death. They said there's no broken bones, there's no bullet holes. She was missing a few items. And let me pull up those items for you guys. Yeah, so they had thermal drones and helicopters buzzed overhead. Thermal drones, they would have been able to see her. Okay, so this lady named Brandy, I'm pretty sure she is a relative to Selena. She said, I will never be convinced Selena died from hypothermia. Where is her phone? Where is her jacket? Why were her other belongings found on the ground? That's a valid point. Her mother got to the rest area an hour after she was allegedly left. So her mother got there around 3 p.m. If she was found 3/4 of a mile away, she would have heard her mom calling her. It was almost 50 degrees that day. You really think she laid down and froze within an hour and laid there for 20 days without anyone noticing? Wake up, people. I'm so disgusted. And I agree. If her mom supposedly got there at 3 and she went missing at 2, that means Selena possibly could have never been in that field to begin with. And that other girl was just a cover-up. And this whole thing was just a cover-up. I really, really, really hope that the FBI and the police do a thorough investigation on these people. The time frame does not add up. You don't get hypothermia in 50-degree weather when the sun's out. And especially if the sun was out, I just feel like she would have ran, or she would have kept moving or walking. She wouldn't have just stopped and laid down. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, she was an athlete, for God's sakes, 3/4 of a mile. So that was just a statement from her family. I feel so horribly for them, and I know how they feel because I don't believe this. I don't believe this conclusion either. It's just sometimes the police just put something just to get it done and over with. Hypothermia, accidental death, not related to this. We don't need to search in for a homicide. And sometimes they just take the easy way out just to put it at rest. Because I think they did look really bad for taking 20 days to find this girl. And who knows, maybe if she was in that field, better police work would have found her sooner before her fate, maybe possibly that night if she was only 3/4 of a mile away. It's just very, very heartbreaking. My prayers go out to Selena's family. I feel so horribly for you guys. And I really just wanted to put these videos out here and all of the future videos on missing murdered Indigenous women because there's just too much. Moving from Arizona to Montana, my eyes have opened so much about this epidemic, and I don't want it to be me. I don't want it to be another fellow Native American woman. I want this to be put to rest. I want them to feel the heat that these girls aren't going to keep going missing and no one's going to care. We all care. And they're going to get more publicity and more stuff will be done about this, and people will not continue to get away with this stuff. That's just what it is. And for me to see a group of other natives doing this, or possibly allegedly doing this to another Native American girl, it makes my stomach turn. We should not be turning on each other like this. Stuff like this should not happen. Even if they aren't guilty of murder, they should have never left Selena there. A 16-year-old girl at a rest stop, really? And they also should have never left Arlotta Pretty on top. They were both very beautiful girls. You leave two of the most beautiful Native girls at a rest stop by themselves on New Year's Day. That's what you did. Instead of protecting them, instead of making sure they got home, instead of being their safety, you put them in danger, and now one of them is dead. So leave your guys' comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.